Hi everyone, this is Anil. Welcome to video on Code2Flow and ServiceNow JavaScript utility. So what this utility does is it will help you visualize your code when you are either developing the code or you already have an existing code, and if you want to visualize it as a flow, Code2Flow utility will help you do that. So I can think of two use cases for this. One is if you're new to your project and if you're trying to understand the setup that is already there, then this is a quick way of trying to analyze any of the existing scripts like your business rules or scripting rules and so on. And the second thing is if you're new to ServiceNow and if you're trying to visualize your code while you're coding it, then this is a good place to start. So in this video, we'll cover following pieces. One, I'll cover what is Code2Flow and how to use it while scripting in ServiceNow. And we'll try creating a sample glide record using Code2Flow and run it in ServiceNow. And we'll extend that script by adding some functions to the script. And then next, we will take a script from a business rule platform and then analyze that in Code2Flow. And finally, I'll show you how to set up your own instance of Code2Flow. So let's get started. So this is my Code2Flow instance, right? So let me start building a script here. So let's say grinc is equal to new glide record of incident. So as you can see here, when I'm writing it, it's kind of building the flow also parallelly, right? I'll say grinc dot add encoded query en query grinc dot query while grinc dot next. I'm going to say gs.info grinc.number. Right. So now if you see here, so when I'm writing this code, it's building that flow automatically, right? First the variable, then the encoded query, then the query, the function that I'm calling, then it's also able to see the loop here, and then how it is traversing the loop, right? Now, if I have to add if condition here, like let's say if grinc dot category, let's say jsutil dot not nil grinc dot category. So I'm saying if it's not nil only printed, then it will do that as well, right? So now you can see that there's a if condition that's coming into play here. And now the other good thing about this is if you write comments, it will also show it there. Like for example, if I, let's say, only print for categorized incidents, right? So when I do that, it also shows that here. I want to zoom a little bit. So you can see that it writes that comment as a block next to that, as a dotted line to that next step, right? So now this is about like a standalone code. Now let's say I wrap this in a function. I'll just say function cat inc, right? And then wrap this as function. And you can see that now this whole block is coming up here as cat function. So cat inc, and then it's showing all this here. Now if I call this from a code block, like I'll just say cat inc, and then about that I'll declare a variable var en query cat is equal to active is equal to true. Let's say keep it like that. En query. Then now I can see that on the left side you have this en query and then this function that's being called, and then it's right. It tells you the function definition here. Now if I write another function, let's say to print records that have only group on it, and just say group here, and then I'll say dot support underscore group, right? If I do that, then now I see like two blocks coming up here, and I have to make call this function. So I'm going to just copy this all the way to the top, call that here. Now I can see that two function calls are here. If I zoom this a little bit, so there are two function calls here, and then the definition of function is also depicted here. Now you also have the ability to follow editor cursor. Like for example, if I click here, it shows me on the left side where is my block that I'm looking at, and similarly, it's both ways. So I can actually traverse the script and see the flow also side by side, right? So this is about how to write the script here and then use it in the ServiceNow platform. So now let's take this and run it in a fixed script and see how it works. Uh, I mean, you may still have to handle some errors if you see that in the fixed script. So that's kind of within the platform you'll have to do it. But at least it should give you a good starting point to uh, you know uh, build that visually, right? So for example, we got this error, so let's try to handle that. Invalid query detected. Let's check what is this. Okay, oh, that this is a variable, so I should just be like using it like this versus within the codes. So I'm going to fix that here, and then here as well. And let's run this now. So now this executed fine, so you can see that the output is getting displayed, right? So this is one example of how to start building a script here and then seeing it visually and then testing that in ServiceNow. Now let's take the second scenario where I'll take a script which is in the platform and then visualize that in Code2Flow. So for that, this is a business rule. So let me open that, take all of that here, copy this code, and then open Code2Flow, clear this off, and paste that. So now you can see that it nicely lays out this flow here. So again, if you see on the left side, like the first is there's a comment which is written about this script, and then the what is the actual function being called, and then auto close incidents is a function that is being called. It tells you all those steps within the function, and then also I think there's a second function that's being called. So that's also being explained here. So, so if I go here, just gonna click on this here. I mean, I'm just trying to see where it is trying to split that, right? So let me check here. Okay, I think it's this operator maybe. So let's comment this for now and see what happens. Uh, okay, looks like this has some like reserved characters. So we should be able to handle that, right? For example, if you see here, if I had this variable here called, I think this less than symbol, then it kind of broke it. So I had to like take care of that. And then now I took care of it fine, right? So yeah, I think we need to explore a little more in terms of what are the result characters. But in principle, it's a very useful tool to visualize your scripts, right? As you can see here, all that script is now visually available here. So you can try this for other scenarios also, like a script include and all that stuff. But yeah, so to quickly summarize, we're trying to look at a tool called Code2Flow and trying to analyze the ServiceNow JavaScript in that. Uh, and you can do two things there. One is you can build a script within that utility, or you can visualize any existing script in this utility. And also in terms of how to have your own setup for this. So there is a URL called app.code2flow.com/login, and here you have two options. One is, I mean, you can always sign up if you want, but otherwise, if you have a GitHub account already, you can use that, or you can also use Google account and you can log in. And once you log in, it should take you here, and it will let you, yeah, use this. Now, if you are using a free account, then there's a limit of 50 nodes, which means if you give like a really large script, it won't process that. So you need to be careful in terms of like how much script you want to paste here. And If you want to really analyze a large script, then the best way is to try to analyze it in parts, like take the functions and analyze what's analyzing it in a whole, right? So the idea is to keep it within the 50 nodes so you can see the output. Thank you for watching. This is Anil.